Sage is the only current healer in the game of Valorant, but she actually has tons of utility that makes her a hard carry as well. She can not only sustain her allies, but sustain herself, and has tons of utility that can make plays and dominate the opposition. In this guide, we're going to be breaking down each and every one of her abilities, as well as giving you tips and tricks on how to find the most impact in every one of your Valorant games. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it, shall we? But before we jump into it, smash the subscribe button if you want daily Valorant content. We're going to be providing the best Valorant guides on YouTube, so do yourself a favor and jump right in. Now, kicking it off with Sage's signature ability, let's talk about her Heal Orb. Now, Heal Orb is an ability that you can only get one charge, but you get it automatically every single round. On top of this, it only has a 35-second cooldown, so expect to use it multiple times in a given round, assuming that you don't feed and die right off the bat. Now, what can Heal Orb do exactly? The thing is, it can actually heal your allies or yourself all the way up to full health over time. Now, it's not instantaneous, and it takes a certain amount of time. And something important for you to understand is that if you take damage while being healed, it will actually stop you from being healed. That being said, you'll still start to heal more if your heal is still active, but realistically, it's going to prevent you from getting all the way to max health if you're already low. So you should really try to heal away from enemy line of sight. Now, know that this is the only healer, and you might be thinking that this ability isn't that powerful, but it really is. The thing is, there are many fights and trades where you take damage from enemy explosives, enemy abilities, or just natural fire, and you're at a very weak total. In those scenarios, you can't even peek an enemy because any sort of shot is going to kill you. This Heal Orb allows you to disengage from the fight, potentially heal yourself up because it's only on a 35-second cooldown, and then take a fight again at full health. The versatility of being able to heal yourself in a duel or potentially heal an ally who took some preliminary damage means that this ability is very powerful, and in my opinion, Heal Orb is going to be very powerful every single game. Now, moving along to Sage's next ability, let's talk about her Slow Orb. Now, Slow Orb has potentially 2 charges, and you could buy them and stack them. What Slow Orb is a throwable projectile that explodes and leaves ice on the ground, as well as grounds enemies inside. If someone tries to walk through the ice, not only are they greatly slowed, but their noise is insanely loud, and I'm talking really loud. Essentially, if you're walking through this ice, everyone's gonna know where you are and that you're moving through the ice. On top of that, you being slow means that if you try to push through it, the enemy is gonna know your location. You're not gonna be able to move around quickly, so that means you're a sitting duck for the enemy prey. If you know someone with a Slow Orb, it's gonna be very easy for you to make a play on them or push up and kill them. No one is gonna wanna push through a slow. If you throw a slow on the ground, you can be sure that no enemy is gonna push through, and even if they do, you'll know exactly where they are. They're gonna be walking slowly, so they're gonna be really easy to punish. While other abilities like Smoke can block LOS, Slow Orb actually blocks pushes, so you can use it to make a play on enemies or prevent them from pushing, which is a really versatile use for this ability. I think it's also not that difficult to use compared to a lot of other abilities, while still bringing tons of value to the table. Now let's move on to the third ability before we talk about Sage's insane ultimate. Let's talk about Barrier Orb, and I think Barrier Orb might be one of the most powerful abilities in the entire game, the most powerful individual ability in the entire game, or one of them. What Barrier Orb is it's a solid physical wall that comes up that not only blocks enemy LOS or line of sight, but it's also a wall that blocks enemy abilities and damage. Now, why is this so powerful compared to a traditional smoke? Not only does this stop their line of sight like a smoke would, it stops the fire, which means the enemies aren't going to be able to blind fire behind it. You can use it to actually protect you and your team from fire, and you can use it right out in the open. Using a smoke right out in the open when you're getting fired upon is typically not going to save you unless you yourself go behind natural cover. This is a form of cover that you can create on a fly. You can use it to wall in enemies. You can use it to block off enemies. There's so much potential for this ability, and I think that it's very, very powerful. Now, unfortunately, you only get 1 charge per round, but it's definitely something that I think you probably need to buy every single round. Now let's talk about this other aspect of Barrier Orb that's really cool, is you can actually use it right underneath you or an ally, and you can raise yourself up to the high ground. That's really cool because it gives you a way to get on top of boxes or high ground places that typically only characters with some sort of mobility could get to. Sage can get there as well. All in all, just based on her abilities alone, I think this character is very good in a lot of different situations. Just because she is quote unquote a healer doesn't mean she plays like a healer at all. A lot of her abilities can be used for herself and to set up plays for herself, so you can still be a carry even if you're playing Sage. Don't think that just because you're a healer, you're somehow not gonna be the hard carry, because you definitely can on Sage. Now let's talk about the fourth and final ability of Sage's, her ultimate, Resurrect. Heroes never die, or is that the wrong game? Essentially, you walk up to an ally, you use your ultimate and you res them and they'll be back at full health. There's going to be a short cast time and delay, so keep in mind you don't want to do this right when an enemy's on top of you, or you and your ally are just going to get killed, or you're going to get killed before you even complete the actual ability. Now your ally's not going to have any armor, but they're going to have their weapon back and they're going to be at full health. Plus, them being at full health is really good because if they take any damage and don't die, you can always heal them back up. Now what is so powerful about a res, you might ask? Well, the thing is, in a game like this, having an extra body can have an unquestionable amount of value. If you have to 1v3, you have to go up against 3 people that can literally insta-kill you if you don't play perfectly. Now, all of a sudden, if you bring back one of your allies and it's 2v3, you can set up a game plan, you can combo abilities, you can build information, you can block objectives together. There's so much more tactics, margin for error, and potential plays you can make as long as you have another person alive and well. That's where this Resurrect comes in, and that's why it's so powerful. On top of that, it might not be a 1v3. Maybe it's a perfect 3v3, but you turn it into a numbers advantage, a 4v3. Or maybe one of your allies gets picked right off the bat in a really important round, a round that you didn't save, a round that maybe he has an op, or maybe every single one on your team bought. And it's important because in a buy round, you definitely want to win the fight. You don't want to lose it and give the enemy all these great guns. Maybe 2 of your teammates bought ops or things like that. You don't want to give them all these guns, so you want to give yourself the best shot at winning your buy round. That is where you can invest Resurrect. Make it so even if one of your teammates got picked off by the enemy op, you turn it right back into an even team fight. The versatility of Resurrect, whether you're losing a team fight, whether you're 1v3 in a clutch situation, or whether one of your teammates just got picked off right off the bat, I think is very powerful, and I definitely think that it's probably one of the top 3 ultimates in the entire game. Now, all in all, do I think Sage is right for you? I personally think that Sage is going to be pivotal in high-level play. The fact that her heal is on cooldown, you're emphasized to stay alive and not take too many aggressive plays, because the longer you're alive, the more heals you could potentially get out and give to your team. It's on a 35-second cooldown, so if you can give off 3, 4, 5 heals over the course of the game, that's a lot of extra health for your team, which could translate into actual value on the table. On top of that, between her barrier wall and her slow wall, I think her utility is actually very powerful. Some of the characters I found have some abilities that are really powerful, but the overall connection between their abilities is a little lacking. The suite of abilities doesn't quite fit, or there's something that they don't inherently have. Maybe they don't have something that can give them to the high ground, like a mobility, or they don't have something that can block LOS, or they don't have some sort of utility that can trap enemies, or things like that. Sage, in my opinion, has the most comprehensive kit where she has strengths in almost every category. If you want a character that is probably the best around the board, insanely powerful, and will be very powerful all the way up to the high level of play, and is a healer, but also can take matters into her own hands and click a few heads, Sage is definitely for you, and I would highly suggest you start popping off with her right away. All that being said, if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Smash the subscribe button if you like Valorant content. We're going to be releasing daily Valorant content, so do yourself a favor and get in on the ground floor of this ever-growing channel. If you have any other heroes that you want us to make guides over, please comment down below and we would jump right on it. That's all we have for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and until next time,